Good morning, everyone. This video is one of many under the series called Impacts and Solutions to Climate Hazards for the Forestry and Agricultural Sector. Today, we're going to talk about the climate challenges and solutions from the forestry sector in Lebanon. So let's start with the impacts of climate hazards on the forest area in Lebanon. Lebanon's forests, which cover about 23% of the land, are highly vulnerable to climate hazards, particularly wildfire. The rising temperatures, prolonged droughts, and unpredictable rainfall patterns have increased fire risks. In 2021 alone, over 4,000 hectares of forests were destroyed by wildfires, severely impacting biodiversity, ecosystem services, and livelihood. So the key impacts of the climate hazards on the forestry sector include, at first, we have the biodiversity loss. Lebanon, part of the Mediterranean biodiversity hotspot, hosts about over 2,600 plant species, many of which are endemic. Wildfires and habitat fragmentation threaten this biodiversity. There's also the ecosystem degradation, knowing that forests play a critical role in carbon sequestration, water regulation, and soil stabilization. Degradation disrupts these functions, exacerbating climate vulnerability. Another key impact, which is the economic pressures, forest-based products like pine nuts and honey contribute to rural livelihoods. Wildfires and unsustainable harvesting reduce availability, affecting income. In addition to climate change, several human-driven factors have amplified the impacts on Lebanon's forests. We have at first the land abandonment. Migration to urban areas has led to the neglect of traditional forest management practices. Abandoned lands are overrun with flammable shrubs, increasing fire risks. There's also the illegal activities. Deforestation due to illegal logging and the use of forests for firewood and charcoal production, driven by economic crisis, degrade forests further. There's also the urban expansion. Encroachment for construction and quarrying fragments forests, making them less resilient to hazards. There are also human-induced fires. The primary causes include farmers burning crop stubble without precaution, careless littering and improper disposal of lit materials, and burning municipal waste in high-risk conditions. Lebanon has taken several steps to address forest degradation and wildfire risks. At first, we have the National Forest Program, which provides a framework for sustainable forest management and aligns national goals with international agreements. There's also the National Forest Fire Management Strategy, which was updated in 2023 and focuses on fire prevention, preparedness, and restoration. Another initiative, which is governance improvements, which mainly is about strengthening collaboration between ministries, municipalities, and private stakeholders for integrated forest management. Some of the short-term solutions that could mitigate the impact of climate change as well, we have the community engagement, such as training local volunteers in fire prevention and basic forest management, and educate communities on sustainable harvesting practices. There's also the fire prevention, which is mainly establishing fire breaks and conduct controlled burns in high-risk areas, and develop integrated fire management system to monitor and respond to outbreaks. On the long run, we have some long-term strategies, such as forest restoration, replanting degraded forests with endemic and drought-resistant species to improve biodiversity and fire resilience. There's also the sustainable industries, which is to promote eco-friendly enterprises around non-wood forest products like honey, pine nuts, to support rural economies. There's also the nature-based solution, such as nature-based tourism, investing in infrastructure like hiking trails and ecotourism centers to balance economic growth with conservation. On the policy level, incentivize private landowners to adopt sustainable practices through tax breaks and subsidies. And on the data and technology level, develop national systems to monitor forest health and wildfire risks, and use satellite data for proactive ecosystem management. I will now give an example on the data and technology level that was implemented in Lebanon. Two fire risk engines were created in Lebanon: the Fire Lab data, powered by the Lebanon University, and the Fire Index data, powered by the National Council for Scientific Research in Lebanon. Let's start with the Fire Index. The Fire Index utilizes advanced modeling techniques and data analysis methods to evaluate parameters such as temperature, humidity, wind speed, vegetation cover, and historical fire occurrence. By considering these factors, the index provides valuable insights into the likelihood and intensity of wildfires in specific areas. The Fire Lab conducts research on various aspects of wildfires, including fire behavior, risk assessment, prevention measures, and response strategies. It employs advanced technologies such as GIS, remote sensing, and fire modeling to enhance the understanding and prediction of fire dynamics. Finally, I will give a concrete example or a practical example that was implemented in Lebanon under the umbrella of ecosystem restoration. So, species longevity depends largely on interaction between animals and plants within an ecosystem, such as predation and seed dispersal, which are key to species conservation. Diet analysis is a fundamental tool for evaluating these interactions, crucial for identifying conservation targets and implementing effective restoration and reforestation. Understanding the predator-prey dynamics and seasonal food web variation offers insights into ecosystem structure and function. These dispersal, a vital plant-animal mutualism, allows plants to reproduce and maintain ecosystem sustainability. For forest managers, knowing which plant species animals consume and disperse is essential for reforestation and wildfire conservation. In Lebanon, reforestation projects have primarily used monocultures such as cedar and pine, which, while being productive, may not maximize ecosystem resilience. A better approach involves planting species that support wildfire, particularly seed dispersal, to accelerate natural regeneration and enhance forest recovery. So the animal component in ecological restoration projects often receives insufficient attention, despite the undeniable importance of animals as pollinators and seed dispersers. Consequently, employing DNA analysis on scats can provide valuable information for constructing the forest food web by revealing the dietary habits of animals throughout each season. Indeed, the crucial information required to study animal diets lies within their scats, containing not just the animal's DNA, but also the evidence of the species it has consumed. So the combination of non-invasive sampling methods and genetic scat analysis has proven to be a potent tool for species detection, since the scats of the animal contain the DNA of the animal per se and the plant species it has consumed. The DNA sequences extracted from such material are cross-referenced with a reference library that was also constructed by us and covers the native species of the East Mediterranean countries. In fact, we have now constructed the first reference library of animals and plant species of Lebanon. This library is very crucial since the existing data on biodiversity in the Middle East region are poor and sporadic and vary from one species to another. The assessment of species biodiversity and the dynamics of its population is indispensable, especially for animals and the plant species that they have consumed. The results of this experiment were very promising for Lebanon and the region. A total of 18 mammal species have been identified, providing valuable insights into their diets. Many of these animal species are endemic to the region and/or face threats, particularly in Lebanon. This research has enabled us to assess species richness and implement targeted conservation and management strategies for species of concern. In Lebanon, carnivores have emerged significant frugivores and seed dispersers. Families such as Apiaceae, Berberidaceae, Fabaceae, and Fagaceae, Rosaceae, and Poaceae are among the most consumed plant species by these animals. Planting these species will not only attract wildlife to Lebanese forests, but also contribute to the preservation of the Mediterranean biodiversity. This work reinforces the fundamental principle of restoration ecology, emphasizing the importance of planting a diverse array of native species to foster and safeguard thriving wildlife population. Thank you for your attention.